Here.
Mrs. D'Angelo Steele.
Here.
Dr. Dillon.
Here.
Ms. Liskini.
Here.
Mrs. Peterson.
Here. Alright, and Garza, we're going to stay with you for the public hearing.
Okay, at this time, there's a public hearing for the tax budget. I will explain a little bit what the tax budget is. The tax budget is a financial plan required by the Ohio Revised Code for operations of the next fiscal year 2026-2027. It identifies how much money is expected from local, state, and federal sources, the anticipated carryover fund balances, and how much is needed to carry out governmental functions for the next fiscal year. This tax budget is submitted to the Franklin County Budget Commission, and it's used to fix property tax rates. What I have done is I put this in the dispatch that I noticed that this meeting was going to happen, and that it was on file at the district office for anybody to come look at. Unfortunately, nobody came to look at it. But, this is the time that anybody that chose to or wants to have any comment on the tax budget, they can have that opportunity right now. Thank you.
Seeing none, thank you, Garside. We will move forward with the adoption of the agenda. Am I moving that?
You can ask for a vote.
Can I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved, Liskini.
Thank you. And can I get a second?
Second, Peterson.
Roll call, Ms. Liskini,
Yes.
Ms. Peterson,
Yes.
Ms. Alcar,
Yes.
Ms. D'Angelo Steele,
Yes.
Dr. Dillon.
Yes.
We're just moving right on. All right, now to the organizational action items. Now we're gonna proceed to the election of president for the 26 school year. Sorry, just one, it's for the year, the calendar year 26. That's one thing school districts have, are about 17 different calendars. You don't just have your students are in school calendar, you have your fiscal year calendar, and then you have your election year calendar. Too many to name. So with this, I just want to give a little bit of information about this. I've had a lot of questions and assumptions leading up to this. You know, we're still a pretty new board, considering, you know, the longest ones have been here for starting our third year. And to kind of help get some clarity with those questions and assumptions that I've had, the vice president in our organization doesn't always automatically become the president. Every year it can change, every year it's different. There's no certain position or certain amount of time you have to be on the board to be a president or a vice president. And actually, after being vice president for this past year, I think it's a great opportunity to have others be in these roles. So while it'd be an honor to be a president or a vice president going forward, I think this is a great opportunity to have other people experience this. And I'm really thankful for the time that I had as a vice president. Everybody has equal voice, everyone has equal voting on the board, so the roles of president, vice president aren't super different, just some little tweaks here and there. And so with all that being said, nope, there's no tradition, you know, you've been here for 17 years, you get to be president, or hey, you're brand new, you get to be president, and just jump right into the frying pan. But so it's open for everyone, and with that, right, I covered all that. Garside is the expert, because
Just ask for nominations.
yes. All right, with that, I would like to ask for nominations for the president.
I would like to nominate Camille Peterson for president. Dylan?
You can ask for
And any other nominations from the floor? I want to nominate Garside.
more.
Okay. And then we will, there's only one, so we will move for that nomination to be closed. And can I get a second for that?
Second, Dylan?
No roll call necessary. Ms. Peterson is the president.
Congratulations. Now we'll go on to the election of the vice president. Can I get any nominations?
I nominate Julie Liskini.
I'll second that. Any other nominations? Mr. Banks? No? All right, so we will move to close this one for Vice President.
Second, Alkire.
All right, once again, no need for a vote because just one person was nominated.
Awesome. Do you want me to close this meeting out or switch over now?
You can go ahead and switch now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you, everyone. You know, you ready to move? I guess I didn't.
My hands are pretty tight. I'll grab it. Give me 1 second. Probably she didn't mind. Okay, y'all.
I always have $1 in my winter coats.
You're here, that way you can be comfortable. Hey,
All right, now we have moved seats. Before we continue on, Officers have been settled. I want to welcome everyone into 2026, and with it is a brand new year of school board meetings and opportunities to charter ahead a renewed focus on supporting students in public education. With any new year, especially this year, comes new opportunity to set norms, routines, impacting everyone in this room. None of the board members up here before you decided just to run for office on a whim, okay? Each and every one of us is passionate about kids, and we're committed to helping students grow through exercising our votes in the coming years. To reorient ourselves, I would be remiss not to say that the intent of school board meetings are truly to conduct business in front of our community and for the shared purpose of uplifting and supporting students in their learning and keeping the authentic nature of the work being purposeful and our time together intentional. We need your support. That's taxpayers, staff members, friends, family, all rowing in the same direction. As board member Dr. Dillon always said during our campaign trail, we will not always agree, but we gotta at some point all row in the same direction. By support, I would ask for all of us to come to these meetings ready to spend time wisely, keep the focus on students, and to be representatives of the civility we hope to instill in our next generation. By that I mean assuming positive intent, refraining from heckling, shouting, or murmuring over opinions you might not agree with, greeting strangers you might not know, listening with the intent to understand and not to respond, maintaining the highest level of dignity possible for every human in the room. Every month, every meeting. Board meetings do not need to be adversarial. This is not Ohio State versus Michigan. This is not that team versus this team. We are gonna need to be a unit in governance and process that yields positive outcomes for kids, modeling for them the right way to be respectful. We have so much to be proud of here in this vibrant school district. And I know the canvas is blank with the opportunity to paint an even brighter future for generations of Southwestern City students, now and for those yet to come. In closing, I ask everyone who comes through these doors on Monday nights to be engaged, learn about this district, volunteer, but above all else, be respectful of the process. Ms. Ackerman, our lady down there every meeting, says that every public participation meeting be respectful of the process. This is not just words in a script. It's a standard that we're all gonna uphold. I am committed to this. This board is committed to this. And we ask for your partnership to upholding this tenet. There may be times where a select few get passionate. Passionate is good. Need to reset. A neighbor might need to remind them of this. There may be times I need to remind an audience member of this. But again, it does not ever have to be adversarial. This effort in my acts tonight is to recalibrate how we contribute to board meetings in an effort to commit ourselves to the continuity of lower temperatures in board meetings. With that being said, we got a full agenda, so let's get it started. Thank you everyone for being here tonight. All right, it looks like the next item on our organizational meeting agenda is a discussion of the dates and times of our regular meetings. It is recommended that the Board of Education adopt a calendar meeting dates for our calendar year 2026. All board members have an opportunity to review that calendar. Is there any discussion on it?
I have a few, if you don't mind. The first one, and I think, well, there's a few, but one thing that sticks out is the November 16th date. I'd recommend that that meeting would take place on November 9th instead, due to the OSBA convention, and if you're going to have a delegate and folks a part of that conference. I've attended that the last 3 or 4 years now, and having a board meeting before that conference is really beneficial for everybody, especially the delegate, and going over that information. So if that's a possibility with folks' schedule, that's one change I would make.
So moving November 18th to
Or-
November 9th.
Oh yeah, sorry, I was looking at the conference, yeah.
Nope, you
I
got
kept
it.
looking
I
at the
knew what you
conference
meant.
and saying the 16th, but
Yeah, you're
I say the
fine.
18th.
November 18th and November 9th.
But,
Good point.
yeah, thanks. And then, sorry, I'm not used to sitting on this side, so it's gonna take me a hot minute to be like.
I know, I keep looking this
I
way.
know, look this way, can't see everybody, so I do apologize if like you're gonna say something and I don't see it right away. And then, for clarification, the pre-visioning and visioning goal setting meetings, I know typically that's been done. That's another thing in this district that, you know, it's not traditional. There's not something set in stone that this district does every year. It varies throughout the country what folks do for their school board meetings, for their retreats and visioning sessions. I know back in the day, Garcia, you were probably part of that, where they would go to Deer Creek for like a whole weekend for their, it was a whole weekend or just a Saturday, but the retreats, they used to have like a legit retreat, and you would go to Deer Creek and spend the time with a goals and visioning session. And I think last year and the year before, we did like just one day of like all day visiting session. I thought that was really beneficial to kind of have that continuity all in one day with a conversation. I know it's kind of hard with schedules to do something like that, but are we, with having the 2 dates, the 26th and the 9th, were those the same idea or are those different goals on that one?
My understanding is it's the same concept, but breaking it down in 2 sessions versus a full long day of 8 hours. Us like
So will
going
we
hard, and then it was like, oh, if we tried to tag it to a board meeting, then
You're
it
gonna get
wasn't-
your 6 to 8 hour day anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do think the February 9th meeting doesn't necessarily probably need to start at 2:30. We probably could definitely cut some hours off on that one.
I think having 2 days where we have our visioning and decide the tenor of the board and start to think about and brainstorm goals, and then have some time to think about personally those goals, talk with our constituents, and then come back for the goal setting on the 9th would be helpful to have some time in between.
I agree with the 2 days. I don't have a problem with that. My question is, are we going to, last year at the visioning session, we had, our administrative groups that came in and presented, and then we had time to, think about it, have questions, contact those groups, and then we came back and we were able to discuss, are we going to do that same idea where we have like half of the group present on the 26th, and then the other half present on the 9th, and then when will we have time to discuss?
So I think the concept they're thinking is the 26th, do start at 2:30, and actually all of them will feel like it is enough time for them all to present and still allow for the opportunity for us to do the discussion. They have been preparing for their presentations, so they're confident that they can present to us and still have that discussion time for us to ask questions, elaborate, discussion, break for dinner before we have to go into our regular board meeting session that's scheduled for that day.
And I would encourage.
Make sure I got that right, Randy. Okay.
Yeah, I would encourage, all board members, after that first meeting, you know, if, I'm one of those people that I gather the information and then I sit and think about it and formulate questions and then come back.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mr. Bowser.
You're laughing.
You know, and then I send an email, you know, with all my questions, concerns, and that kind of thing. So I do just encourage all board members to reach out to the groups that will be presenting, with your questions and concerns, and don't wait. Because if we wait and then come back on the 9th, you know, and we're ready to start our goal setting, we may not have all of our questions answered by that point. So, okay, just wanted to clarify.
Nope, you got it. That was good.
Are those open to the public?
Well, then,
They are open to the public.
and, which it brings up another, good point too, it's the, yeah, hopefully 2:30 works for the public, I guess the same kind of concept of having it during the day.
When we had it,
Yeah.
8 to 4 or 4:30 or whatever.
Yeah, so
But-
just,
Go ahead.
Obviously, does 2:30 work for everybody? I mean, they're, everyone's schedules?
Yeah, I have state testing starting the first week of February, so 2:30 works better for me than the 9 o'clock start time.
Okay.
About 9 a.m. start time.
Do we want to adjust the February 9th time? Do we think we need 4 hours? Y'all have to tell me 4
I would-
hours to?
I would think that let's keep the time, and then at the 26th meeting, if we find that we do not need it, we can adjust that time publicly at the 26th meeting.
We can do that.
That works.
Another comment that I have on the calendar is that all of these meetings are to be held at the district service center, and are we going to decide now that all meetings are to be there, or will we go month by month or quarter by quarter that perhaps they can be held elsewhere so that we can hold more individuals in a room as well as give other parts of our district an opportunity to participate and host?
I don't have that on mine.
It says at the bottom of the
Bottom
calendar.
of the calendar.
That they're all at the district service center. Okay, I'm sorry. I was looking at the previous, tentative calendar and it all was TBD, so
Yeah.
I apologize.
So if I could just jump in here, we actually have reserved both the DSC and this space for all of the meetings that were on the draft calendar.
Okay.
We're not opposed if the board would like to do a traveling roadshow, however, it does create issues with recording, live stream, some
Right,
real
yes.
challenges for our team over there. So we are set to do either location that we normally do, whatever you prefer. Specifically for the next 2 meetings, because we will be spending time during the day and need a table to sit, I think this space would probably be better for the 26th as well as the 9th. But after that,
Is there an advantage to having at the DSC compared to the Career Academy that anyone could identify right now? Because I feel that this is awfully central, affords more accessibility and space. And if it's already reserved, I would move to have our meetings here. But I'd love to hear from,
The biggest difference you're gonna find is that the boardroom has built-in audio. We have a traveling audio system that we use for this, and we have we will have stuff for this in here, but currently, the biggest thing is that the boardroom has built-in audio systems.
So every time you guys have to come in early and get everything set up and do all the things?
It's not a problem, it's just,
not.
that's, you have to.
That's just
I know we kind of played it by ear the last year or so, it was,
I think we did play it
yeah.
by ear. I do like the fact we don't have the pole, that pole in the middle of the road. That pole, what?
Playing it by ear is not transparent.
What I will say is, far as this, let me make sure this is correct here. Far as location of the meeting, we do not necessarily have to solidify that tonight.
Correct.
Just the dates. My brain is saying there is some meeting dates on this calendar where attendance is smaller. And it's because you may be off, but we are not. We go all year round. So when we know there is the months that's like, okay, there's a summer month, there's one that lands on a couple things, I would not want to utilize this large space and take it for a smaller attendance meeting. So I feel that that might be appropriate to have those meetings at the DSC. Because then otherwise it could be like a big room.
yeah,
This
it's
is
a lot of work
massive when
for-
there is times that there is meetings that we have smaller attendance on. And I say what we can do is take the time to figure out which meetings of those on the calendar that we've noticed, the small, like I said, the ones that's like there's in the summer, those are small, they're hit or miss because people are on vacations and breaks, and we do not necessarily need this large of a room for that type of meeting.
And it's not just the size, it's also the accessibility
Exactly.
to the majority of the district compared to district service center, which is sometimes hard there's no public transportation readily available there.
Correct. So if I may offer, we know definitely the next 2 meetings will be here at the Career Academy. We will take the time to look over after that potential to go.
Also, if you want to give me your email, I put out the notice every month on where the board meetings, what times, and where they'll be, all those kind of things. So if you want to give me your email, we'll put you on the list.
I have another question, since we're done with this. So the setup you have here with the speakers and sound system and everything, like, if you were here, or if you were at Westland, or if you were at Norton, like, is it all the same setup there, or is it harder there? Like, is this like a legit?
We bring this in because this allows us to have multiple microphones going off the same feed, where this room does have built-in audio, I should clarify, it does have built-in audio, but it currently only has 2 microphones. So it would not pick up your audio the same way that this currently does. This is portable, but the buildings would not have a setup where we would have 7 mics running off the same feed.
Because I've always thought it would be a great idea to even, to utilize all spaces, all the time. But I do know winter months and everything, you get a lot of the schools that, they have basketball and volleyball, and even pickleball is going on now, so I know it's kind of difficult. I thought it'd be fun to have a couple meetings over at Brook Park, just for fun, in that auditorium. It's crazy hot and stuffy still. But yeah, no, I'm, like I said, if we're able to move meetings and do things, I'm 100% like, why limit it to just 2 locations? Why not, if you're a traveling system, it'd be really cool to be able to travel to other systems too. So I'm sure some of the schools would appreciate hosting something like this. So anyway, that's something that I've always thought would be really cool, is to, yeah, where can we go? Where can we set up?
How about we got time to think about that? And
Yeah.
we don't have to do it
I
all in
know.
this one year, but if we
Mr.
can
Dana.
after 2 locations, we doing good. It's a start.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got that at least solidified. Next 2 meetings will definitely be here, and then we will go from there. But we have at least heard everyone's input to know. Sounds like the only correction or adjustment at this time is movement of the November 18th meeting to November 9th. And I did not hear any disagreements on that one. I think that should be fine. Can I get a motion to accept the 2026 calendar dates for the Board of Education.
So moved. Dylan?
Can I get a second?
Second, Liskini.
Roll call?
Dr. Dillon,
Yes.
Ms. Liskini,
Yes.
Mrs. Alkire,
Yes.
Ms. D'Angelo Steele,
Yes.
Ms. Peterson.
Yes. Okay, moving along. You guys have me for fiscal and operations. Okay, we have a couple items to bring forward for this organizational meeting. There is about, I wanna say four items that I am bringing forward for this organizational meeting, under fiscal and operations. The first item is, called the Board Service Fund. It is recommended that the Board of Education establish a board service fund for the fiscal year 2026-2027. Ohio Revised Code 3315 provides for setting aside, from the general fund, a sum not to exceed $2 for each child enrolled, or an amount established by the Board of Education. This money is to be used for paying expenses of members of the board actually incurred in the performance of their duties or of their official representatives. It is recommended that the amount for the period of July 1, 2026 through June 30th, 2027 be set at $35,000. The background is the amount has always been set at $35,000 for several years. It is working, there is no need to change it, and we are gonna leave it at that. Okay. The second item is authorization for fiscal procedures. It is recommended that the Board of Education authorize administration to carry out specific fiscal procedures for calendar year 2026. A purchase necessary services and materials and make payment of bills and salaries when due within appropriate amounts, and authorize the business manager to act as the purchasing agent in accordance with board policy 6440 and 6450. B, invest funds when practical in certificates of deposit, U.S. government securities and treasuries, repurchase agreements, and others as authorized by board policy 6144 and the Ohio Revised Code. Item C, request advances when necessary from the county auditor/treasurer. Background on this one is the property tax bills, they go out and they are paid by the owners at different times. Some right when the bill comes and some is not until the due date. It's right there. As the money trickles in, the district can request advances on the property taxes that have actually been collected by the county. The county typically allows roughly 5 advance requests settlement periods, like the first half and the second half, okay? The Board of Education must grant the treasurer the authority to ask for these advances. It is good business practice for the district to request the advances because we can invest the money earlier than waiting until the final settlement, which occurs roughly a month and a half past the final due date. So we try to get our dollars quickly so we can see what we can get back. Who don't want money? D is signed payroll checks and accounting checks and contracts with electronic signature. E is transfer in or advances from the general fund to other funds as necessary to meet obligations pending receipt of state and or federal funds. The background for this is, making sure I haven't missed it. Background on this one is the permit that the treasurer to move the money between funds. It is important to note that the treasurer will always ask specific approval by the board resolution anytime funds are being transferred between funds, okay? F is approved disposal of property having value less than $10,000 as stated in board policy 7300. So if for some reason we have property that's less than 10,000, district or treasurer may ask, can we dispose of it? G, provide purchasing and authorization as specified and required to the district administration within the scope of the annual appropriation resolution and any subsequent amendments to said resolution, according to board policy 6231. H, approve the tax budget for the fiscal year beginning January 1 of 2026 as presented at the budget hearing. Background, tax budget is a financial plan required under section 5705.28 of the Ohio Revised Code for the operations of the next fiscal year, 26-27. It identifies how much money is expected from local, state, and federal sources, the anticipated carryover fund balances, and how much is needed to carry over governmental functions the next fiscal year. The tax budget is submitted to the Franklin County Budget Commission, and it's used to fix property tax rates. In some counties, the submission of the formal budget is no longer required. This is not the case, though, for Franklin County. Okay?
Point of order,
Yes.
you said January 1st?
July.
I just wanna make sure on the record that it's July 1st.
July.
Okay.
July. Thank you. Item number 3. Resolution to participate in state and federally funded programs for fiscal year 2026-2027. It is recommended that the Board of Education authorize the administration to apply for and accept state and federally funded grants and entitlements for fiscal year 2026 as listed below. Should I list all of these? Okay, there is about 15 of them, okay? So there is some, I was like, I can say them all now. State and federal funded grants that we are gonna continue to apply for. Additionally, the Board of Education authorized the administration to apply for any additional grant or entitlement, not specifically listed, if said grant or entitlement is in alignment with the district's continuous improvement plan. So that way you know. The last item is number 4, designate the treasurer as the board's public record designee. It is recommended that the Board of Education appoint the treasurer as public records designee for the Board of Education per Ohio Revised Code 109.43 as public records designee. The treasurer shall attend public records training annually on behalf of the Board of Education. After reviewing these items, I move them for passage. May I get a motion?
I have a question.
Yes.
Do you wanna do the motions first, ask all questions first?
Yep, I can do a motion.
Just for clarification, so the board service fund, things that we're gonna do between now and July 1st, is this still from the budget from, it's 25's budget? We're still rolling with, and there's still plenty of money in there for whatever's done before July 1st, okay. That's one thing, and another, thing I wanted to mention was I've asked, Mr. Garside about the different funds and grants and things that we receive money for. I know there are things that occur and happen, and a lot of times people are like, why is this, why is that, or why do we have this to do now, or why are we doing that now? And fortunately or unfortunately, with these items, I believe there are some, there's sometimes stipulations or there's strings attached to everything. So it's great, money is great to get, but every time you receive money, sometimes who's ever giving that money says, hey, by the way, we're gonna give this to you, but now you have to have a parking spot for me in every parking lot, or something like that. There's always something with each time you get money. No money is free to receive. So that's something that over the last couple of years I've run into where it's like, why is this happening? And I'm like, I don't know why it's happening, let's find out. And it almost always comes back to, oh, there's a grant for that, or there's a fund that comes from, and this is why you have to do that. So this part here, I mean, it's great, it's good, appreciate the money, but also helps for clarification. So I know it's a lot to go through, but I'm gonna appreciate having that to pull from
Sure.
this year. Thank you for that. And I can give you a motion if you want. Yep. I'll motion.
Can I get a second?
Second, Alkire.
Roll call?
Mrs. D'Angelo Steele,
Yes.
Mrs. Alkire,
Yes.
Dr. Dillon,
Yes.
Ms. Liskini,
Yes.
Mrs. Peterson.
Yes. Okay. I think we hit all our items. Under our organizational meeting, now I just need a motion to adjourn our organizational meeting. So now we can go into the regular meeting.
So moved, Dylan?
Can I get a second?
Second, Liskini.
All right, roll call, Dr. Dillon,
Yes.
Ms. Liskini,
Yes.
Mrs. Alkire,
Yes.
Mrs. D'Angelo Steele.
Yes.
Mrs. Peterson.
Yes.